So life is a series of divine appointments, right?
You bet it is.
So, gosh, I could tell 1,000 stories and even just a half a dozen to a dozen of people that make this DRIPBaR unique, of how in the right time, the right person at the right place crossed my path, and God just weaves us together. And so I feel like that about everybody that works here. Just almost ironically, how like, wow, that was exactly what, this was just meant to be. So that's how I felt when I met you. Okay. And here you come in and I'm like, where have you been all my life? So Linda, I know who you are, but can you share a little bit about who you are and what you do and how the two of us are now connected?
Okay. My name is Linda Hood, and I am a diplomaed naturopath. I have been in the natural realm for 25 years. I got into that because I was having health problems myself and went to the doctor. I thought I was having a heart attack, having all this pain in my chest, and it was really frightened me. So I wanted to have testing done to my heart. And when the doctor came out with the results, he said, there's not one thing wrong with your heart. It's strong as an ox. And tell me a little bit more about what's going on in your life. And I said, well, all I know is I have pains in my chest and I don't like it. I thought it was my heart. So he began asking me a series of questions, and most of them were about digestion, my stress levels, and my lifestyle. And at one point he picked up a prescription pad and started writing on it, but wasn't saying anything to me. So he tore it off without looking at me, handed it to me, and I said, what is this? And again, without looking at me, he said, this is a prescription for the purple pill. What you have described to me is a digestive issue, and if you'll take one of these every day for the rest of your life, it will keep it under control. And immediately, in my mind and in my heart, I said, you don't need a purple pill every day the rest of your life. There is something out there in nature that God has given you that will eliminate this problem, and there's no need for a purple pill. I looked at him, he's writing on his notes, he's not even paying attention to me. I stood up to walk out of the room. There was a trash can by the door. I dropped that prescription pad in the trash can and kept right on walking. And I began praying that God would show me what there is out there in nature that would help me eliminate this issue. And I started doing research on my own. This was a long time ago. There wasn't much on the internet at all. And started putting into practice what I was learning. Within 2 weeks, all my symptoms were gone. And as long as I continue to follow the protocol to help my body stay balanced, those symptoms have not returned in those 25 years. So now my heart is, let me share with as many people that are interested the things that I have learned and help them make choices from a more natural, holistic perspective than following the medical model. That's me.
That's right up my alley for sure. So you did a lot of research on your own to figure out you, and then what did you do next to help others, and how, can you elaborate on how you do that now?
Okay. Well, I did immediately find an educational process that said I started taking courses and got my degree as a naturopath. And part of that process, which is, I don't know that it's 100% different from the medical model, but is you learn something, you have a client that you work with, and you see how they respond to this. So we do all these case studies, gazillions of case studies, with people. And you start learning that we are all individuals. Not one thing that worked for me may work for everyone else in exactly the same way. So you have to know more than just this herb or this essential oil or this homeopathic remedy will do this, but maybe not for that person, maybe only for this person over here. And there's so much more that is involved than just knowing a herbal supplement or a digestive enzyme or whatever, and prescribe that for anyone because it may not be what their body will respond to. So learning the whole aspect of who we are as people, we're not just physical. We are emotional, we are mental, we are relational. Finances interfere with our lives on many levels, and we are definitely spiritual. And if we are not balanced in all of those areas, it's going to affect all the other areas. So no matter what we're doing to eliminate the problem, we're not going to be successful if we're still out of balance in those other areas as well. So it's so encompassing and important for people to understand that you can't just take a pill to get rid of your problems.
So I was talking with someone the other day, and the analogy that we came up with was, you could have 4 people with the same diagnosis. Let's say they all 4 have the same pathogen. Let's just say streptococcus, right? Okay, so you've got 4 people with strep throat. Now, for one of them, what their body might need is a chiropractic adjustment.
Possibly.
For another one, what their body might need could be lymphatic drainage.
Yeah.
For another one of those patients, different person, maybe they do need an antibiotic or some sort of nutraceutical to help correct that. But to your point, you can't just take a diagnosis, regardless of what it is, and paint everybody with this wide brush that the fix for this is that. Because the fix for this, whatever this is, whether it's a bacterial infection or a migraine headache or chronic digestive issues, chances are the remedy of what's going to get that person back into balance is going to be unique to the person.
Correct.
And so let me ask you this. I've been a mom now for 11 years, and 11 years ago, I was introduced to my first practitioner who practiced muscle testing. Okay. And at that time, everybody in my family and all of my friends thought I had this voodoo doctor. They're like, that is so weird. What in the world do you mean muscle testing? How do you, and I would try to explain it, so I would come home and I would say, well, you do this, you hold your arm out, and for now 11 years, some of my friends and family have come around, but that being something that you're very good at, why don't you explain, since you do a better job, what is muscle testing and. How do you use that to help anybody, me or whoever, improve in an area or target a specific issue? Okay. How does that work?
Certainly. Muscle testing, you all really are very familiar with because you know what a lie detector test does. Okay? You ask a question. They are hooked up to nodes that are connected to a computer screen, and it is the electrical response in the body as the person answering the question comes up with the answer they want to give. And if they are telling a lie, the electrical flow in their body will change, and it will put a no answer on the graph on the computer screen. If they're telling a truthful answer, then the answer on the screen is different, and the person taking the test knows how to read those results, knowing difference between yes and no, truth and false. Well, I skip the computer. I just use a muscle. Sure. Because we have an electrical flow that flows through our body 24/7. It goes through every organ, gland, muscle tissue in the body. And when we tell a lie, it will weaken the electrical flow in the muscle, which will then weaken the muscle itself. And the muscle will not be able to do its job as effectively as if the electricity is flowing through it properly. So I'll just show you real quickly one of the ways that I muscle test. I bring my upper arm in, lock it in place. I use my bicep muscle to put my arm in a 90-degree angle with my palm in a downward position. And then I take 2 fingers from the opposite hand and place them just above the bones in my wrist. And I gather up all the strength that I can from my arm and down into my hand, and I start pushing on my right arm. Well, you notice my arm hasn't changed position the whole time I've been pushing, okay? Because all the things I'm saying, everything in this room I'm being exposed to is positive and beneficial for me. And my electrical flow is just moving right through there the way it's supposed to. And it is able to resist the pressure from the pushing that I'm giving. However, if at any point while I'm pushing here, I say something that is false, I even think something that's negative, like, oh my gosh, I hate that Hitler person that was in history, that changes the electrical flow. It's a negative vibrational energy, and the electricity slows, weakens the muscle, and as I'm pressing, it cannot hold 90 degrees any longer, and it changes position. Now, where are all these answers coming from as I'm asking these questions? Let's say you have a migraine headache, and we're wanting to know, is there an underlying issue that's causing your body to manifest migraine headaches? So I muscle test and would ask, is there an underlying root cause? And my arm doesn't change. That's a yes answer. There is an underlying root cause. Your subconscious mind has recorded everything that you have ever been exposed to through your 5 senses, every thought that you have ever had, and all the information that would be leading to your body needing to produce a migraine headache is in your subconscious mind. So as I'm asking these questions, the answers are coming from your subconscious mind, and it's like a library, pulls those information out. Okay, this thing has happened, and your body's responding by creating a migraine headache. More than likely, there's 10, 15 different things that have happened, not just one, but you have to ask and get those answers independently. So it is extremely reliable information coming directly from your body. So now we know that something happened when you were 5 years old and it helped your body create migraine headaches. Now we want to know, well, what can we do to eliminate that thing? That caused. And again, we come back to muscle testing. And I use my knowledge base about should we do a therapy that involves food? Should we do a therapy that involves herbs? Or just whatever, from my own knowledge, I began asking these questions. And again, your subconscious mind knows all of this information. It knows if there is a specific herb or medication, whatever, that it would respond to no longer need the manifestation of a migraine headache. And I can get those answers from muscle testing. Simple.
It is simple, and yet when you try to explain it, you go home and you tell your husband, I'm taking this nutraceutical, this and this. Well, because we muscle tested and determined that how do you muscle test, right? Like I think for years, my family and friends, because I didn't explain it as well as you do, but you're an expert at that, and that's one of the things that I appreciate about your approach is that, and what we do at the DRIPBaR too, is that everybody that comes here, there's not just a set drip. It's kind of funny because, I could have somebody come in and their chief concern might be acne, and we don't have a drip that's labeled acne, right? But the allergy drip, because allergy drip targets inflammation. Okay. And acne is an inflammatory response that the skin is having. So, sometimes that's where it gets really fun is helping someone to choose that right drip. And even in so much more of a sophisticated way when you learn muscle testing and can really identify, which one is going to be most beneficial. so, yeah, that's so simple but so fascinating and so effective.
It is. And let me just add this aspect too. Remember when I said we are whole people? We're not just physical. So oftentimes the answer to the question of why your body's manifesting migraine headaches could be maybe you have some energy trapped inside of your body from a traumatic experience you had when you were 4 years old. Maybe you even inherited that traumatic energy and you have no clue that it's in you. And because it is vibrating inside of your body 24/7 and has been since the age of 4, your body's reached a point that it says, I can't handle that anymore, and I need to let her know somehow that I need some help here. And the only way it's doing that is producing a migraine headache. Well, how many times if you get a migraine headache do you think, gosh, I wonder if I have some trapped energy in me from when I was 4? We just don't think that way.
Right.
And yet muscle testing will reveal answers like that we never would have even gotten any other way.
Yeah, I had no idea about the level of how sophisticated our bodies are with our subconscious knowing everything. Like, we don't in our conscious mind recall things, but our subconscious is so, the most incomprehensible computer ever created. And so I love my maker, and I thank God every day for making us in a way that's just so beautiful and unique. And when I met you, one of the things that I was dealing with was some eye clarity issues. And whenever I met with you and had my first appointment, I was floored. I was really floored because I had no idea that the subconscious mind really did keep record. I had no idea how something that happened at age 5 could affect me now. That was a bit out there for me. But when we were having our first appointment and, you're going through the chart, was it this, is it that, yes, no, yes, no, yes, no. And we got to bee venom at age 5, I was like, what? That's bizarre. Because then my conscious mind recalled that that's the only time in my life I'd ever been stung by a bee. And there's no way you would have known that about me.
No.
It's not like I told you that.
Right.
It was just my body giving you the answers and helping me to get really peel back that layer of the onion. I like to use that analogy because sometimes, that's really where functional medicine and holistic practices come in, is because, what we see at the surface might be one thing, but then when you start to just layer it back a little bit deeper and a little bit deeper and a little bit deeper, then you can get to the root of what that cause is. And I'm like, and then my question, and so I'm going to ask this question because I know if I ask it, I know that there's got to be somebody else that has the same question. Okay. And I just lost my question. That stinks. Hang on. I just lost my question. It had to do with that many years. So why would, so when I identified the onset of the issue I was having with my eyes, I identified that, I connected that very specifically to a weekend, an event, because the onset of my eye issues was after a weekend at Dollywood, where I had just I rode so many roller coasters. We rode roller coaster after roller coaster because I love fast. I just love it. I love it. And at the end of that weekend, I almost wondered, did I damage my eyes? Did I do something to my eyes? What happened here? Because that was the onset. It was very, very specific. Right. And of course, I went to the eye doctor. Eye doctor told me, just like the doctor told you about your heart, that it was perfectly fine, but here's something. Yeah. So my eye doctor says, your eyes are fine. They test fine. You read it. There's nothing wrong with your eyes. And I'm like, well, if there's nothing wrong with my eyes, why am I having these eye issues? Right. Where I would be talking to somebody and all of a sudden the person would be out of focus. And it was just, starting to be a bother. You know, at first it was just sort of intermittent, and then it started getting a little bit more often. And so that's when I finally went to the eye doctor. And of course, he wrote me a prescription and said, here, go get a snazzy pair of glasses and that'll help. Well, I mean, of course, I went and got a really great pair of glasses. The House of Eyes does a great job. Love the House of Eyes. They will pair you with a fine pair of glasses. But I never wear them because it's not the problem. They look cute though. Yeah. They look really good. But my eyes were not the problem on the surface level. And so my question though is, like, the onset was that weekend. And so I was sure that it had to do with something that happened in that 48 hours. Can you explain how something from so far back as childhood can have an onset that delayed? Can you speak to that at all?
Well, as we did the muscle testing, several answers came forward, not just one answer, which leads me to that thing that happened, the first thing that was related at 4 years old, had been vibrating in your body constantly since 4 years old. But it wasn't disruptive enough to produce a symptom such as what happened in your eyes. So we kept muscle testing. Is there another underlying issue contributing to the eyes? Answer is yes, and we start having other things come up as well. So you add the negative vibrational frequencies from what happened at 4. The next thing that was revealed had negative energies that were attached to it. So now you've got this. Then something else was released and it was negative energies, and now you've got this much. And it kept compounding to the point that you are today, where after what happened on that weekend, that was like the last straw. And your body said, no more. I've got to let her know she needs to help me out here because I can't live this way any longer.
Well, that's because that was my question. I thought, how can something so long ago finally catch up with me now? But yeah, so that's amazing. And I don't think that oftentimes we take the time to, in a lot of ways, you know, you were speaking earlier about relationally, spiritually, emotionally. I think in a lot of areas, physically, anyway, and I think I'm probably fairly average on this, I don't take a lot of time to really peel back the layers in life and go, okay, well, if I'm feeling that, well, hold on, let me feel that for a minute. Like I even told you the other day, I'm really not much of a feeler. I'm not a feeler. But I have another friend who does breath work, and she is really, really great at getting you to a place where something's identified and then like breathing through that and really feeling that and allowing your body to feel that. And of course, I haven't done any breath work either, but I know many people that do. Do you have any experience with that?
Oh, yes, most definitely. And I wanted to say that emotions, every single emotion has its own identity in its vibrational frequency. So you think about an emotion like anger, and you think about how your body reacts while you're in anger. You clench your fist, your muscles get really tight, your stomach gets all knotted up, and you get red in the face. And I mean, you can just see what's going on in my throat right here as I even talk about anger. Definitely there's a vibrational frequency that anger vibrates at. And that emotion, while you're in it, you have a choice. You can allow it to have its full effect in your life and make your choice from that information of anger, or you can decide, I don't want to deal with this right now, by golly, I'm going to move on and act like it didn't even happen. Well, now, because that energy has not allowed itself to be expressed fully, it lives inside of you, and it will continue to live inside of you and vibrate at this heavy level until you figure out it's there and you choose to get rid of it. That's where you find those trapped energies through muscle testing, or sitting long enough to actually allow yourself to feel that energy from that and recognize this is the anger from the other day when so-and-so did such and such to me, you know, and you make the decision to allow it to fully give you the information it wanted to at the time, and you did not allow it to. And once it has been fully felt and experienced, then it can be released from your body, and you don't have that energy vibrating in you any longer. So we muscle test and we find you had anger from the age of 7 that is a contributor to your migraine headache. Now that you know that it is vibrating in you on a conscious level, you can decide, do I want to keep that negative energy from age 7, or would I like to let it go? And if you decide to let it go, we go through a process to release it from you. We muscle test to make sure it's gone and that it has been replaced with energies of a higher level. And then it is completely gone. It can never bother you again. Your body has been set free from that contribution toward migraine headache. And it's less likely that your body will produce a migraine headache. However, if there are other things that are still trapped in you contributing to migraine, we need to find them and get rid of them as well.
So it's kind of like with that, it's kind of like what we say about drips. One drip is not going to make you superwoman, right? Like sometimes people say, well, I didn't, I mean, there are sometimes just immediately a drip is you are going to feel something. And then that's usually when you're not feeling well. It's usually people that, they're hungover, really dehydrated, they've been sick, or they are sick, or they're really depleted from an athletic event, or whatever. Those are our people that come in, and I mean, just immediately they're like, oh, I feel like a new person. But then sometimes, somebody that's coming to the DRIPBaR for more, pursuing wellness and prevention and just adding it into their wellness routine, I didn't feel anything. Or like maybe you're coming for a particular, we'll go back to the acne example. One drip is not going to make the acne go away. It's just like one session of anything. So I think in life, you have to, with respect to the energies that you were speaking of, even that, you have to come back and make sure that where something was released and something new has replaced that, that you've still gone a layer deeper to make sure that those contributing factors don't build and rear their head. Because you have one, it's not like Linda has a magic wand and just waves it and everything's great. And it's just like at the DRIPBaR, we got a lot of great drips, but it's not like we have a drip that's just going to fix it all in one time. And so usually, I would imagine that you tell your clients the same thing. It's kind of like being on a program and committing to that.
From all my studies and all of my interactions with clients for so many years, I really think we make things too complicated, and it doesn't need to be so complicated. When new life enters this earth, a baby will do basically 3 things for the first couple of months that it's on the planet. It eats a whole lot.
Right.
It sleeps a whole lot.
Right.
And it poops a whole lot.
Right.
Okay. So if we, as we get older, can keep these 3 things doing what they're supposed to do on a daily basis, we've pretty much got the basis of good health, okay? Now, it does get more complicated. We can eat things that are not healthy for us. We sometimes don't eat enough. Sometimes we eat way too much. So there are many things that spawn off of eating. And sleep, of course. We've all experienced bad sleep, not enough sleep, restless sleep, waking up not feeling like we have been fully energized and all of that. There are many things that contribute to good sleep. And sleep isn't necessarily the only way to give our body rest either. We need to also do recreation, recreate while we're awake. And that contributes to the sleep part. And then, of course, the pooping, the eliminating. We build up toxins in our body on a regular basis, and today, in the world that we live in, oh my goodness, we are exposed to so many toxins on a daily basis that our bodies were never exposed to 50 years ago. Sure. And so we have to adapt, and we have to work with our body to help it eliminate and keep that process open and working properly 24/7, 7 days a week. Otherwise, none of these things are going to work well. When we're backed up and not we're eliminating toxins, it's going to interfere with our body's ability to sleep, and it will affect our gut, definitely, and that will completely change the entire environment in our bodies. So this is a holistic perspective that we need to focus on. And again, there's so much information out there, and it can become so overwhelming and so confusing for people, and it doesn't have to be complicated. We can narrow it down and make it very, very simple. And through muscle testing, we can find out exactly how many portions of protein does your body need on a daily basis. Does it even need meat 7 days a week, or would 3 days a week be better for your body? Just basic things like that that can turn your whole life around in a short period of time, really. Yeah.
Yeah, I think, divine appointments, it's always allowing God to give you a takeaway from every interaction of the day. Because I really believe that, people cross our paths. You use the word recreation. Sometimes I'm just intentional about, you hear the old phrase, stop and smell the roses. Sometimes I will literally just stop and, today I just got outside and actually had one of those days you wake up and go, no way. Water has seeped in through the upper level of the house. It's seeped down through the dining room, seeped down from the dining room down into the garage. And I had a choice to make over my attitude. Yes. And I had a choice to make over how that was going to affect my day. Right. And so, just start handling it. And while I could have had the mindset that I was stuck at home waiting on repair people, because along with the leak from the storms came a broken garage door. So it was kind of like, really? This is a lot today. Yes. And that's okay, because I've got this. So every repairman that crossed my path, I chose to make that a good night, like a pleasant interaction with another human being that I otherwise would have never met, Yeah. When I'm walking, around showing the guy places in the roof, I just decided to be really intentional on, I'm going barefoot because I love to feel grass on my feet, right? So I think just being intentional in all of the things. And then one thing that I really work to do is to learn something new every day. Yes. And I don't know if I've told you this, but I look up to you, and you are one of those people that I know that God put you in my life, and I love learning from you. I love our friendship, and I just look forward to collaborating in this holistic space and continuing to become a better version of myself and be a blessing to you and pour out into the community and help be a blessing to other people. Lots of divine appointments.
And I agree. This was definitely a God appointment the day that I walked in this door and met you. Right. And what you offer to people is something that I can believe in and through muscle testing say, this is exactly what you need, and I know exactly where you can get it, you know? And that connection means so much to me because I don't have the ability to give them what you can give them. And working together is such a blessing and a benefit for everyone that comes in and learns about what you have to offer. So,
And a lot
yes,
of fun,
thank
too.
you. Very much fun, yes. And that is a key part of being a healthy person, is being able to laugh and enjoy and keep your energy levels high, keeping your mindset positive. And it is a choice, moment by moment, as you said. It's a choice.
I know somebody else that likes to drop a ray of sunshine. Dylan.
Yes.
I